This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and today, as my special guest, I have former AWA and WWE and Jim Crockett promotion star, as well as many other places that we'll get into today. Boris Zhukov, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Hannibal?
Doing great. I see you still have your Russian hat.
Oh yeah, sure do. Yeah, and it still fits good. So that's great. So
You're a little skinnier than you were. Is that
yes.
is that just from not lifting as heavy anymore and dieting?
Yeah, dieting because I'm a truck driver and I have to sit a lot. And the doctor said I had to keep my weight down because a little over 10 years ago I was 340 pounds and I'm down to 205 now. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So.
What was the secret?
I just had to cut out all the good stuff, the pasta and the potatoes, and so there's a lot of vegetables and salads and just protein, So and I cut out all the sugar. So drink lots of water and black coffee and watch the calories because I sit. Driving a truck, that's all you do. You sit. So.
How long have you been in the truck driving business?
About January, it'll be 30 years since I'd started training. I started training in 92. So it'll be 30 years in January.
Well, I guess that's not much different than wrestling with the amount of being on the road that you were doing during your wrestling career.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's something I got used to, and it's the great thing for me is it helped keep the wrestling memories alive from all the road I was on. That's all I've known is the road. So it's been good. It's been good in a lot of ways.
So when you started in 1992, would that have been when you fully gave up wrestling, or have you still been doing independent bookings after that?
I did some independent bookings after that. When I could had time to do stuff on weekends and make money. And then later on when Fan Fest came up, I'd go do those when I'd have a chance,
So as far as your childhood, where did you grow up, and did you play any sports when you were younger?
Yeah. I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, which is the old home of the Jim Crockett promotions, Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, and I played sandlot football and then high school. But when I was getting into junior high and going into high school, I got so interested into pro wrestling. I was really watching that a whole lot and started gearing my weight training toward that because that was something I wanted to do. That was a big dream for me. And then one day I woke up and it was all real. So you can't ask for anything better than that.
Who were some of your favorites to watch growing up?
Here in the territory, Wahoo McDaniel and Paul Jones against Ole and Gene Anderson and Johnny Valentine and Johnny Weaver, Sandy Scott. Andre came here, and I loved Jack Briscoe when he was world champion, and Jerry when he was here. Darn Jardine was a super destroyer, so there was a lot of great talent that came through here.
I understand that you were a football coach before you were a wrestler. Does that mean that you also played football when you were younger?
Yeah. I played football when I was in Sandlot in high school, junior high and all that. So, yeah, sure did. Absolutely.
How did you actually get involved in the wrestling business?
Wrestler, I don't know if you remember Rick McCord or not, but he introduced me to independent here at home, Mike Weddle, who went as Eclipso, and they had a wrestling independent group going, and Rick McCord got me started with them and stuff after a training tryout down at a boxing wrestling gym in Roanoke, Virginia, back in May of 1978.
Was the training hard in those days with them protecting the business more than they do today?
Oh, yeah, because like I said, it was a boxing ring, and, man, it was stiff. I mean, the next morning, I couldn't hardly move. I had a hard time getting out of bed. So, they were pretty brutal on me on that tryout and stuff and everything, the bumps and all that. Man, it was awful rough night I had when I had my first tryout.
Did they stretch you at all, or was it mostly cardio blow-up drills, or a combination of both?
Combination of both. And I blew up quick too because I wasn't in shape for that. So that's a total different ball game.
I can imagine.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Where did you make your pro wrestling debut?
Where was it? Was here in Virginia, a small town. I was trying to think of the name of it and stuff. They had a special fundraiser show. It was an outside show. Newcastle, Virginia is where it was. Yeah, I just remembered. Yeah, sure did.
Did you get it right away, or did it take a while before you started to feel comfortable in the ring?
It took a while to start feeling comfortable. Now I went to matches all the time. I studied matches, and the guys here, Mid-Atlantic territory for Jim Crockett, and all the matches on TV I could watch because that just made sense to me. These guys were the best at the game, and that's who I needed to learn from. And so I watched all the matches I could, and all the chances I had to get in the ring because without experience, you're not going to learn it. So I found that out real quick.
Did the veterans treat you pretty well as far as advice, or was it hard getting accepted by the veterans when you first broke in?
Oh, when I first broke in, it was kind of tough. But once I realized how serious I was and how hard I was willing to work, I got help from everybody. I mean, even Ole Anderson for crying out loud, So, Wahoo McDaniel, Jack and Jerry Briscoe, Ricky Steamboat, Bill Eadie, who was a mass superstar, helped me a lot. Jim Rasky, Baron Von Rasky, these guys were super. And that meant the world to me too.
What was your gimmick when you first started?
Just Jim Nelson is when I first started and stuff. I'd gone with the crew cut and all that, and so just plain old Jim Nelson until Sergeant Slaughter came along and came up with the idea for me to do a private Jim Nelson with him when he came into the Charlotte territory.
At what point did you get picked up by Crockett Promotions? Because that was obviously one of the bigger territories at the time.
Right.
Did they recruit you, or was that something you just kept applying and eventually you started to get
I was working for Ole down in Atlanta, and he got me booked up in Charlotte for a week, 10 days. Sent me here for 10 days for them to take a look at me. And George Scott was the booker at the time, and everybody in the territory, Flair and Blackjack Mulligan and Steamboat, all the guys liked what they saw. And then when they had an opening come up, they booked me back up, and I moved to Atlanta, up to Charlotte, and that was in the early fall of 1980.
What was it like being in that feud with Sergeant Slaughter, who was very over in that territory at the time, and him taking you under his wing?
Oh, man, it was just incredible because the heat he was able to build and the ideas that he had. I mean, he was just so smart, and he really pulled me along, with the private Nelson. We worked on that thing back and forth in our off time and trying to get that right and everything, and it just worked out great. It was a natural feel for both of us, and I felt very comfortable with it, and it went really good. And but the heat he generated was just incredible, absolutely incredible.
Did you have any fan attack situations?
Had some very, very close calls and stuff and everything. You just had to watch your back there because at that time, I mean, wrestling was taken very seriously, and there'd been stabbings and stuff. Roddy Piper had been stabbed, and of course, Ole Anderson got stabbed real bad in South Carolina, down in Greenville and stuff. So you had to watch your back everywhere you went. You had to be careful going to your cars, or people would throw stuff, and because wrestling was very believable then, and it's a heel. You just had to watch your back all the time.
Did you prefer being a heel to a baby face?
Yeah. To me and stuff. To me, it was easier and stuff. I think it was easier to get for people to hate you and boo you than to cheer you, and that was something I always enjoyed. I always enjoyed antagonizing people and giving them a good show, and then hearing them pop. I mean, that made my night when people would cheer, babyface make a comeback and take the bumps and all that stuff. I mean, to me, that's what it was all about. That's who paid our salary. That's who we were out there for, was the fans, and I enjoyed that more than anything.
Some fan is commenting on here. Do you ever get the comment that you look like Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future?
No, that's the first time I've heard that one. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I love that movie anyway. So, yeah, very good.
Now, you were teaming up with Don Kernodle when he was also doing the angle with Sergeant Slaughter, and you won the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Championships with him. What was that team like? He was very over in that territory,
yes, he was. Yeah, because when I first came up to Charlotte, that's who I was married to Don for a while, and Don taught me so much stuff about the business and wrestling and holes and spots and stuff. I mean, he was just great. So I learned so much from him working with him and stuff. And then we got the tag. It just fell together. And of course, like I said, Sergeant Slaughter had so much heat. It was just incredible, and it made it super easy for Don and I. But like I said, we worked well together, opposing each other. So being a tag team, I thought we clicked pretty good.
Any memories of when you won the tag team titles from Jay Youngblood and Porkchop Cash?
Oh yeah, we had some tough matches with them and stuff and everything, and some great road trips and stuff. And remember Sandy Scott, who worked for the office and stuff, we was late to our town one time, and it wasn't long after we'd won the belts, and we show up, and Sandy said, "We got it, Jim, Don, you become champions, and you think you can show up at the town anytime you want to." He says, "You guys are late," and we was at a school, and they had a symbol of a devil up on the wall and stuff. And Don said, "Well, Sandy, it's not our fault." He says, "What do you mean it's not your fault? It's either you or Jim was driving, and it doesn't matter which one of you was. You were late." He says, "No, it wasn't." He says, "The devil made us do it." And Sandy wasn't easy to rib, and that was the first time I'd seen somebody get him good. And Don got Sandy really good and stuff. So at least that took the heat of that moment off of us for being late to the town, So.
And sadly, of course, from what I understand, Don shot himself this year. I don't know what the whole reason was, because I heard he was working with the police and doing pretty well, seemingly. But what are your thoughts on his passing this year?
Yeah, that was devastating, because he'd had such a successful career in wrestling, and great successful career in law enforcement. I mean, I was so proud of him. And he had just recently retired and stuff, and it hit me hard because Hannibal, my family and I suffered suicide. As well as I had a uncle take his life in 1984, and I was working for the Fullers and Armstrongs at a spot show in Greenville, Alabama. Got word about it, and questions remain, and the pain never goes away. I mean, the ones left behind are the ones that suffer the most, and it was just devastating to me when I got that news. I was shaken up and crying off and on that entire weekend I found out about it.
You also worked, when you were teaming with Don, with Jay Youngblood and Ricky Steamboat. Ricky, of course, went on to be world champion and have a good career. Any memories of working with him?
Oh, yeah, man, they were just as smooth as silk. Steamboat, Jay, they could just go. They didn't blow up. I mean, and everything they did was just perfect and on, and the fans just loved them. I mean, it was a piece of cake working with them guys. I mean, like a lot of guys would say a night off, and they were definitely a night off, and just everything they did was just perfect, absolutely perfect, perfect. To me, Ricky was one of the best baby faces that ever worked in this business, ever. The best baby face that I ever got to work with.
And you and Don had a bunch of boot camp matches before you left the territory. Any thoughts on those?
Yeah, yeah, we pretty hard with them and stuff, and stiff, and enjoyed those, and tough matches I had with Sergeant Slaughter too, and everything, just great memories, and then with Don and stuff, that was just extra special and stuff, because like I said, I'd started working with him when I first came into territory, and then they end up where we ended up at. That was a sweet ride.
After that is when you went down to Mid-South Wrestling, and I believe that's when they started calling you Boris Zhukov. Was it Bill Watts that gave you that gimmick?
Well, I talked to Jake Roberts about it, and of course his dad, Grizzly Smith, was with the office down there, and then I'd worked with Bill. Bill had booked some in Atlanta and knew me, and got in touch with him, and he talked to me about coming down with the Russian gimmick, and discussed the name with him and all that, and Bill gave me a chance and gave me a date, and brought me in to start working.
What did you think about doing the Russian gimmick, and how tightly did you keep kayfabe with that?
I tried to keep it as tight as possible, because Ivan Koloff was a mentor of mine. He was one of my favorites when I was growing up. I meant to mention Ivan's name earlier too and stuff, because when I got my first chance to go wrestle in Atlanta TV was against Ole Anderson and Ivan Koloff. So I was on top of the world with that. But yeah, protecting the gimmick and the Russian gimmick and all that was very important to me. In fact, I didn't get around people very much any more than I had to, and I would use the accent too when the opportunity came up that I had to speak.
When you were working out in the gym and stuff, would you avoid talking to people as much as possible? And what would you do if people tried to talk to you in the gym?
Yeah, just say a few words and use the gimmick voice, But I mostly kept to myself. In fact, I'm still like that now. I'm a loner, and I do better by myself and stuff. And I just steered away from people, and just concentrated on my workouts, and just didn't pay attention to people.
As far as your workouts, you were a pretty big guy during your prime years. The fans always like me to find out what your best max bench press, deadlift, and squat would have been.
Well, I guess as far as squat goes, I got up to over 400 and some pounds and stuff, and did quite well in the deadlift. My bench wasn't as good as I'd liked it to have been. I got to maybe 315 on the bench and stuff and everything, but then later on I started concentrating more on trying to get a little more in shape, more reps, and try to help with the definition, and just get better ring shape, to take all the bumps and go. That was very important at that time.
There's not a lot on the internet about who you feuded with in Mid-South. Could you tell us a little bit about who you worked with while you were in that territory?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, worked with Junkyard Dog, and a few different guys. I believe, Mr. Olympia too. I believe worked some with him and everything while I was there.
There's a fan making kind of a funny question on here. Did you watch Rocky IV, and were you cheering for Ivan Drago in that fight?
Yeah, I did watch for Rocky IV, and I thought Drago was good, so I liked his character. So yeah, that was well done.
You came into World Class Championship Wrestling around 1983. Who brought you in there, and any memories of that territory?
Yeah, I got my first chance, my first big shot to go over there with Bruiser Brody. And after I worked with Bruiser helped me get into the territory with Fritz and everything. So I had a tough, rough match with Frank, and I knew he liked it rough and stiff, and that's the way I went at him, and he appreciated that, and he helped me get booked in that territory. So I owe that to definitely owe all that to Bruce Brody.
You always hear the nightmare stories about working with him regarding to that stiffness, but obviously, if he helped you get booked, you must have been friends with him.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any stories about him?
Yeah. Oh, just he liked to snug. I mean, when he threw me in for that big boot, I came off that rope as hard as I could, and I ran into it with everything I had because that's the way Frank liked it, you know. But that's the way I grew up. You know, I grew up watching Wahoo, and anytime I'd work with Wahoo McDowell, he used to knock the fire out of me. And watch Greg Valentine and him and Johnny Valentine and stuff. And people like stiff matches. They like it hard and tough and stiff, and that's the way Frank liked it. And I knew that going in, and that made a big difference for me. And Frank liked it too. So I have no complaints about that. So thank goodness, because that he helped get me booked there.
Who was the booker in World Class at that time?
I believe it was Ken Mantell was a booker at the time. Yeah, because Michael Hayes and the Freebirds were there, Buddy Roberts, Terry Gordy, and Jimmy Garvin and Precious. It was a great territory. Yeah, King Parsons was there, so yeah, and all the Von Erichs. I mean, it was a great territory. The towns were hot every night. Was good.
What did you notice about the Von Erichs? Were they? Could you tell that they had their behind-the-scenes issues in those days?
Some, but I just tried to concentrate on the matches. You know, when it's time to go in the ring with them. I tried not to pay a lot of attention to that stuff because for me it was what kind of match you're going to give that crowd, you know, that's paying to see you. And to me, that was the important thing was to, you know, and with them running the territory and stuff and being the baby faces there, make them look good and try to keep yourself booked, you know. To me, that was the main thing.
They were obviously very over, particularly with the women. How would you compare how over they were to other stars that were big in wrestling? Because you always hear those deafening screams when they were coming out around that time.
Yeah. They were red hot baby faces. I mean, the girls loved them and fell over for them and stuff. So they were all very easy to work with. So to me, that was that made it easy and a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it because that's to me that's what it was all about.
Sankbar Akbar was your manager in that territory. Any thoughts on him? He's passed away, sadly.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he was great, man. It was great interviews and stuff, and a ton of heat. I mean, good grief, he had a ton of heat, and yeah, it was a hard to keep a straight face with him sometimes when he did them interviews and stuff and everything. But yeah, he was a great manager and fun to travel with, and yeah, like I said, he had tremendous heat, so it made it even more easier for me and stuff because he was hated, very, very hated over there in Texas.
Len McDaniel wants to know if you stay in contact with Chris Markoff.
No, I haven't had any contact with Chris in a long time. So we lost contact a long while ago. So no, I haven't had any contact with Chris at all.
Rick Brooks is wondering if you had much contact with Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer over the years as you were in the same territory as him and what your opinion of him is.
Yeah. Well, he was still in Charlotte when I went in there and stuff. And he worked with me a few times and showed me some things and taught me some things. And Buzz was snug too. You know, we worked some shows later on down the road up in South Dakota. There was a promotion that Buzz had booked some shows, and I went up and worked with them, and we had some great matches, and I didn't have any problems with him. You know, he liked it snug and stiff, and I did too, and we went hard, and so things between us always went well. I never had any trouble with Buzz Sawyer at all.
You also worked the Southeastern territory run by the Fullers. You always hear good stories about that territory. What were
Yes.
your memories of working there?
uh, Heaven, brother. I mean, the beach and stuff. I mean, had short trips. The fans down there were super and stuff. I mean, I woke up every day down there, pinched myself that I was in a place like that working. I mean, the longest trip was up to Birmingham, maybe 275 miles, and down Mobile on Tuesday. Wednesday was off. Thursday was Montgomery. Friday was Panama City or Spot Show. Saturday was Dothan TV, and then Dothan Saturday night, and then back in Pensacola on Sunday night. And man, you had that beach down there. A lot of times during the week and stuff, yeah, you just go spend hours there at the beach and stuff, and the ladies and stuff, and then go to the town. You know, I mean that to me that was one of the best, funnest territories I ever worked in. Was the Southeastern.
You were in a lot of territories where they were kind of known for the ladies.
Right.
Being a heel, did you have access to some of those benefits too, or because you were a heel, did you kind of have to not participate in that?
Yeah. No, had it there. No, because man, you went down the Gulf Breeze when you went down to the beach there. You had the one big main bathhouse there, and the heels would be on the left hand side, and the baby faces would come down and be on the right and stuff because everybody had to come by there. You know, sooner or later, you know, have to go to the restroom or to leave because that's where the main parking area and stuff was, and so that was the best place to go see and meet the ladies and stuff. And they had great food there and all that. So. Wonderful place. Like I said, brother, it was heaven on earth being in that territory.
What territory would have been the best for the ladies that you were in?
I'd say that one, Pensacola. Yeah, Gulf Breeze and there and stuff. And like I said, great food down there. Coming in the Gulf Breeze, man, after work out at the gym and stuff, would go by and get the in the words of the Iron Sheik, General Dolphin's crispy fried chicken, and get a big 21 piece and go down and chow down on that, man, because oil up and have the chicken after the workout every day and all that, and then go home and give yourself plenty of time, get a shower, cleaned up, and head to the town, you know. So you couldn't beat it. Yeah, it was one great territory.
Somebody mentioned earlier, I don't know if they were making a joke or not, but that there was some type of naked fried chicken story. Is he just joking, or is there some?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Arn Anderson told that story, and he hit it nailed on. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What was that story? I never heard it.
Arn walked in the room and stuff, and I'd finished some chicken and passed out, and I was completely naked and stuff, and chicken leftovers still up in my goatee, you know. So, yeah, that's of course, like he said, he was horrified, so he shut the door and left, you know. So.
Now in Southeastern, you wrestled one of my trainers, but would have been his earlier days, Jacques Rougeau. Do you have any memories of him?
Yeah, I had a great with Jacques, man. Jacques was fun to work with. Is a great baby face, that big drop kick off the top rope there and everything. He was just a lot of fun. He had a lot of fire. And then, of course, later on down the road, when I got the team with Nikolai, I know I got the tag with him and his brother Ramon, but Jacques was great. Yeah, he was over there and always fun to work with and easy to get heat on. So I loved working with Jacques. Yeah, good looking baby face.
One of your best runs was in the AWA. Who brought you into the AWA, and how was your experience there?
Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter got me up to the AWA. So. Owed a lot to him. Had a great run with him and a great run with Rick Martel and also with Nick Bockwinkel too. I got to work a lot of matches with him, but had a great feud with Sergeant Slaughter. We had some good stiff matches too.
And you team with Nord the Barbarian there,
Yes,
John Nord. He's known as a bit of a wild character.
yes.
How was your experience with him?
Yeah. It was. He could be unpredictable at times, but we had some great matches and stuff. And and John was stiff. He tagged and worked some with Brody. So he learned some from one of the best. But yeah, we had some great fun. Stiff matches and stuff with Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig in particular.
Are you surprised that Scott Hall went on to such fame because he started off very plain in those AWA days?
Yeah. But he had a great look, and a lot of people commented that, and I felt too that he was going to go a long ways and stuff once you got the experience and all that, and he did. He did really well for himself, but yeah, I definitely saw that in the beginning when he was just starting out, because big, good-looking guy and stuff, and solid and very believable.
And of course, you worked with the Midnight Rockers in AWA. That Shawn Michaels went on to be one of the greatest ever, and that was one of the legendary tag teams, even though they're not in the Hall of Fame for whatever reason as a team. But any thoughts on working with the Rockers?
Yeah, they were a lot of fun and stuff, and all kinds of different spots, and they were in great shape, and they were another ladies tag team, and the girls just loved them, and it's so easy to get heat on either Sean or Marty. It didn't matter when they made the comeback; the people just went nuts. So yeah, they had a lot of fire and did a lot of great stuff, and they were a great tag team, and always loved working with them. And every night would have been fine with me.
And you left that territory after having a brutal chain match with Wahoo McDaniel. Any memories of that match? You already talked about working with Wahoo. You had good chemistry with him.
Yeah, because Wahoo liked it stiff and stuff. And like I said, he was one of my favorites I looked up to from my old territory days. So I always look forward to working with Wahoo, because he was very believable, and the chain match and everything. Yeah, we wore each other out, and that's the way I liked it, and that's the way he liked it, and we turned out some good matches, I believe.
Sunset Moth wants to know if you enjoyed main eventing and working with Ric Flair.
Yes, I sure did. Yeah, Rick was very polished, in great shape, and everything, and loved working with Rick. And if I can mention too about Rick and stuff, the night I got the news that my uncle had committed suicide, Flair was with us in that town. He was in the town for the week as a world champion, and he insisted he drive us home. He didn't want me driving. He thought I was too upset, and he was more than happy to drive. And I saw a side of Ric Flair I'd never ever seen before. Man, he was so sweet and so kind, and I never got to thank him formally for that, but I wanted to take the chance to do that now, because I will never forget how gracious he was, because he knew I was in a lot of pain and stuff, and that was a different side of Ric Flair I'd never ever seen before.
On more happy notes, did you ever get the chance to go out with him?
Yes, yeah. A little too much and stuff, but yeah, and we had some good times together. Yeah, sure did. Yeah.
Lurvy 1963 says some of your best matches in the AWA were when you were challenging Rick Martel and Nick Bockwinkel for the world title there. Any thoughts on those matches?
Yeah, well, two of the very best that was ever in the business, and what a difference that makes when we work with people that are finally polished and tuned and in shape as Nick Bockwinkel and Rick Martel. So, man, like I mentioned about the Steamboat Youngblood, another night off. I mean, it was a night off with either one of these guys. They were just so great, and so much experience, and so polished. Man, I learned so much from both them guys in the matches. That was they made me look like $1 million because they were so good.
John Falsetto wants to know if you ever worked with Jerry Lawler, and he
Yes.
also wants to know if Wahoo was the toughest guy you ever worked with.
Yes, I got to work with Jerry Lawler. He was a lot of fun to work with. Great, polished baby face and easy. And Wahoo was absolutely one of the toughest guys I ever got in the ring with. One of the hit me the hardest was Wahoo.
You were brought into the WWF then in 1987 to team with Nikolai Volkov as the Bolsheviks.
Right.
I guess, was that to replace the Iron Sheik?
Yes. Yeah, because of that unfortunate incident. But they needed a partner for Nikolai. I wanted to bring in another Russian tag team, and I got the opportunity to go, and so I took the ball and ran with it, and went right to the WWF.
Was it Pat Patterson that would have contacted you to come in, or who was the one that gave you the call?
Well, I'd gotten the word from Jack Lanza, who's one of the agents who lived in Minnesota. I'd worked with in the AWA. He'd put in a good word for me, and Sherry Martel, and again Sergeant Slaughter too. But yeah, I'd gotten a call from Pat Patterson in the office about the starting date and the time to come in and all that. That was all done properly through Pat Patterson.
Would that have been your biggest paydays of your career when you were working for them?
Yes, absolutely, by far, absolutely.
A bunch of people have been asking if you had much contact with Andre the Giant during your WWE days.
Yeah. I got to travel with him some, and different times in big van and everything, and in the dressing room, because I'd worked with him in different territories through the years, so I already knew Andre and stuff, and was on a good relationship with him and stuff. So he always seemed to like me because I worked hard and gave it all I had and everything, and we had a good relationship.
Did you ever get the chance to witness any of his famous nights out drinking?
Just one or two, not many, because like I said, I pretty much kept to myself after I leave the arena and everything. In fact, me and Nikolai would go get something to eat and then go to the room and just chill out and go to bed, because we knew we had to get up the next morning and make the plane. So, yeah, I didn't. Only saw him drunk a few times, not many.
As far as working with Nikolai, of course, he never partied, and he was very good with his money. How did you get along with him outside the ring?
Oh, great. I mean, Nikolai was so sweet. I mean, and we'd get near Baltimore, he'd invite me over to stay at his place. We'd work out at his house, have me in for meals and stuff. There was even several times, man, it'd be time for me to, I'd be going home. He'd take me to the airport next morning and get me on the plane, get me home. And times he'd pick me up, or I'd pick him up in different places. And we had a great relationship. I loved him dearly. I'd known him my whole career, because I met him in Florida in 1980 when Atlanta sent me down there to do some TVs and shows in Florida. That's when I first met Nikolai. And man, he was one of the sweetest guys I ever knew in the business. I loved him dearly. And it was devastating when he passed away.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I had done a short interview with him just before he passed. And at that time, he was telling me he was worried about the Iron Sheik. And then what no one would have ever expected is he actually passed away before Iron Sheik.
Right. Yeah, and he was always in such great shape. He watched what he ate, and worked out religiously every day. So, yeah, that was devastating. Yeah, that caught me completely off guard.
I guess you worked out with Nikolai on the road too, probably.
Oh yeah. We'd have with gyms we'd go to and work out and all that, because Nikolai knew all the places to go. So he'd done it for a long time, knew that territory well, and so yeah, we had some great workouts together for sure. Yeah, he was, and he had a great gym at his house. We had some great workouts at his house too, in his gym there in Maryland.
What's something about Nikolai that people would be surprised to know?
Oh, just what an easygoing guy was. I mean, it's nothing like he was on TV and stuff, and jokes, and man, could he sing? Good grief, could he sing? He had an opera type voice and stuff. And he'd come in the dressing room and sing and stuff, and he could do card tricks. Man, like you wouldn't believe and stuff. It just blow your mind. I mean, Arn Anderson freaked out one time that he showed Nikolai the cross and ran from the dressing room. So because Nikolai freaked him out show with his card tricks. So yeah, that was he was something out, and what a great personality. He was super.
How was working with the British Bulldogs?
Oh yeah, that was fun too. I love Tom and Davey Boy and stuff. I mean, they were a great tag team. They strong as man. They were strong as Bulldogs. I mean, just Davey Boy was just incredible and stuff, and set me up to do that big gorilla slam and stuff, and then Dynamite come off the flying headbutt and stuff and everything, and they were just so much fun to work with. And then of course you had to worry about Matilda too, because I was always having to run from her and stuff. If you didn't get away from her, man, she'd shoot on you, she'd bite you. So you'd better get your butt out of that ring.
The 495 Marauder brings up that WWE was seemingly very loyal to Nikolai. They used him throughout his whole career, and even in later years, they'd bring him back here and there. Is that just because he was so loyal to them and they paid him back? Yeah,
man, but he had so much respect to all the people, all the fans up there and stuff. I mean, they loved Nikolai. They might have booed him and stuff, but they loved him and had a lot of respect for him. But yeah, he always treated the office well and got it in return. And I'm so thankful that they did treat him like that, because he definitely deserved it and he earned it.
Someone's asking your favorite and least favorite team to work with when you were with the Bolsheviks in WWE.
Well, I'm trying to think. Because they say so many great tag teams up there and stuff, like Davey and Dynamite and Raymond and Jacques Rougeau, the Killer Bees. I mean, I loved working with all of them. I mean, they were all different in different things and stuff, but it was a great tag team, great tag teams that they had up there, and I enjoyed working with all of them. To be honest with you, I really did.
Matt R wants to know, when you guys were doing the house show loops in WWE, were you mostly in the A towns or B towns? And what was the schedule like in those days? It was crazy from what I understand.
Yeah, it was crazy at times. It's usually a mixture of both and stuff. Of course, the A towns would be, if Hulk was on the card, that was definitely the A town and everything. But at the time, a lot of the towns, most of the towns were really doing really good and stuff, so get some good paychecks. But yeah, it was a crazy schedule at different things. Sometimes it would change, and you'd have to be prepared for that change too, because you never knew when it would come.
You don't have to say the amount, but what would have been your best WWE payoff that you ever had? Would you remember the match?
Yeah, one of the best ones was the last WrestleMania I wrestled in, where we went in the ring hardly 30 seconds with the Hart Foundation. That was my best payoff.
In Toronto, I think that was, yeah.
Yes,
I was there that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of which, you had other matches with the Hart Foundation too that were longer. Any thoughts on working with them? Brett, of course, went on to have a great career.
Yeah. Brett and Jim was another super tag team and stuff, and they had that killer finish and everything. Jim, good grief, man. Man, he was you grab on to him and stuff. Man, he'd jerk you off your feet in a heartbeat and stuff. And Brett was in great shape, and so I thoroughly enjoyed working with them because they were over, and the fans really loved the Hart Foundation.
As far as the breakup that they had with you and Nikolai, what were your thoughts when they proposed that idea to you?
Well, I figured pretty soon when they proposed that idea, that was along the times that the wall came down. You know, the thing between Reagan and Gorbachev and all that, and USSR was crumbling and coming to an end. So I figured Nikolai and I was going to be coming to an end, and probably not long after that, I'd be on my way out.
They did the breakup and the match on just a Superstars. Were you disappointed that they didn't do the match on like a pay-per-view?
Yeah, I think it'd been great if we could have done it on a pay-per-view and stuff, you know, with Nikolai, and even too, if I could have picked another partner and him and Hacksaw Duggan, because Hacksaw, you know, had the flag and and the USA and all that. I think they'd have been a great tag team, and I think they'd have been great tag team champions. I think it'd been great if they'd put the belts on Nikolai and Jim Duggan.
I believe you may have had a match or two with Hulk Hogan when you were in WWE. What was he like back there?
Yeah, I had did a 6-man tag with him. I forget where it was, or that'd been earlier because Orndorff was in that one, and a Saturday Night Main Event up in New Haven, Connecticut. And man, Slick was out there. Of course, that made it easy. And Nikolai there at ringside had a ton of heat. And when Hulk went to make his comeback, man, that building was shaking. You could feel the building vibrating, the people that were there and everything. And it was like nobody else I'd ever been in the ring with. I mean, he was over like $1 million. And like Bill Eadie used to say, Hulk was a goose that laid the golden egg. No doubt about it. He was one big, incredible baby face. And I don't believe we'll ever see another one like him.
Before the match, would he be nervous at all or want to talk over all the details, or was it just call it in the ring with him?
It was pretty much called it in the ring, you know, because I knew what Hulk, what he did, you know, and we went over that a little bit, and the spots and stuff and everything. But we just went out and went with how the people went and stuff, and pretty much called most of it in the ring.
Did he ever have much communication with you backstage as far as just
always friendly, always talking to each other and stuff, because he remembered and enjoyed working Southeastern too and stuff, and we had that in common. And he always talked about how he enjoyed the Houston County Farm Center, because that was a arena with a setup of its own, and the crowds there, and the aura in the building, the mystique of it and stuff was just incredible. And Hulk always talked about how that was one of his favorite arenas too that he worked in his career.
Someone was asking about Roddy Piper. Did you have much contact with him backstage?
Roddy, because I've known Piper since the Charlotte days, because when he came into Charlotte, me and him lived next door to each other for a little while. So I had a lot of contact with Roddy, super great guy. I loved working with Roddy too. He was a great baby face to work with. I had a lot of ideas, and he taught and showed me a lot of different things too about the business and different levels and stuff. And I really appreciated all the help that Roddy gave me.
Any memories of Survivor Series 1990? I believe you were part of the Mercenary tag teams.
Right. Yeah. Mercenary. Yeah, exactly. It was a great tag there, and ended up doing a thing with Tito there on the finish and everything. But that was some great hills to be in the ring with, and a lot of heat, and that was always a fun match, Survivor Series.
David wants to know your thoughts on Superfly Jimmy Snuka, who I believe you worked with in WWE.
Yeah, I worked with him there, and also in the AWA, and I love Jimmy. Jimmy helped me a lot, you know, on getting the heat getting the heat back when the matches was over and stuff. Remember one time up in I think it was Ashley Park, and Jimmy caught me with a quick superfly. I mean, not a superfly, cross body block. And he says, "Boy, brother, get your heat back. Get your heat back." And so I clotheslined him from behind and jumped on him, threw him over the top rope, and he hit the floor and laid there like I'd killed him. And I had my heat back because I almost didn't get out of the building. I mean, I put my hand up, and Jimmy was on the floor and stuff, and I walked out of the arena there, and it was things like that Jimmy taught me how to get that crowd. And no matter what the finish was, he says, you can leave here with your head held high. He goes, and have your heat too. He says, heels need to do that. And Jimmy believed in that.
Any memories of working Madison Square Garden during your time in WWE? Was that special to you, or were you the type that didn't really care?
Yes, because I'd always wondered what the feeling was going to be like to be there and stuff, and to be there with Nikolai and the tag and stuff and everything. It was very inspiring. There's a lot of inspiration being there, and after seeing the matches I'd seen there through the years, and the boxing matches and all that, Ali and Frazier and all that. That was a very special place, and I'm very honored and privileged to have gotten to work there.
What was it like teaming with Demolition Smash on your final WWE house show loop?
Good. Yeah. He's great. Great guys. I love Bill and Barry both and stuff. And Barry was great to tag with and stuff. I tagged with him with the Russian thing. At one time too, in a show. When AEW got with the AEW, and so that was tag with him.
Oh, you're cutting out a bit. Let's see here. Okay, here you are. Sorry, we lost you for a second there.
Okay.
As far as when WWE, your run ended, how did they approach you with that news?
Well, that Vince approached me with the news on the end, about finishing up and giving me a date and all that. So, which I already figured was coming with the way things had worked with Nikolai and I and everything. But thing was trying to get out of the contract so I could go work somewhere else. I want to give you the notice to leave, but it's hard to go work for somebody else because other people, promoters, were worried about Vince maybe suing them. So getting out of the contract and finding work after you got your finish up date wasn't very easy with them.
Did you ever get an offer from WCW to come in?
No, Dusty talked to me a little, but things never worked out. I don't know if he changed his mind or whatever, but I couldn't get booked at all for them for anything.
Jamie wants to know who your all-time favorite opponent is.
Well, I had two of them, and both of them were baby faces. Ricky Steamboat and Brad Armstrong. Two of my favorites.
You always hear that about Brad Armstrong.
Yes. He was absolutely super babyface. That would have been another dream tag team of mine. Would have been Brad Armstrong and Ricky Steamboat. Yeah.
Matt wants to know who was the easiest and hardest promoter to work for in your career.
I'd have to say one of the hardest to please was Bill Watts, because just the way he could be at times and stuff. You didn't know if you could was getting along with him or pleasing him or not. You never knew where you stood with Bill sometimes. So I definitely have to say Bill Watts on the hardest.
Someone is asking your thoughts on teaming with Ivan Koloff around 2006 in later years.
Yes. Yeah. Had fun getting to do that on a couple different independent independent shows. So yeah, that was always a honor and pleasure because he was my mentor when I was growing up and stuff. I mean, that's how I learned to do the divorce. Was with Ivan. So yeah, because he was in such great shape, man. He was one of the best heels. I loved watching him work because he never blew up. I mean, he could go and take bumps, and he'd never blow up. And it was just incredible and stuff. The way he touched my life and stuff. I mean, and working out with him in the gym was great too. I loved working out with him in the gym.
I have a Russian friend named Ksenia, and she wanted me to ask you if you follow the Russian wrestling product at all over there, or was it all just a gimmick?
It was just a gimmick. It's like I tell people, just a character I played on TV. So Nikolai was the real thing. Him and Chris Markov.
There is actually a little bit of a wrestling scene over in Russia, but it's more, from what I've seen, like they like the hardcore style of wrestling over there.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Constipated in Sin City wants to know what you thought about Sheikh Adnan Al-Kassi.
Oh, great guy. I loved working with Adnan, and he had a lot of heat too. I said, man, it had to be really careful around Adnan because he'd been there for a while when I got there, and he just had incredible heat and great on the interviews and just everything. So and he definitely made a difference in my career up there and stuff. Yeah.
Someone was asking earlier if you get royalties from WWE.
I did for a while and stuff on the videos with Nikolai and I and stuff, but that's all faded out now. But I did get some for a while. I sure did.
You and Tony Atlas are both from Roanoke, Virginia. Did you get along with him over the years, and are you guys friends?
Yes. Yeah. I met Tony early on, as I was getting into business, when I first went to Atlanta, met Tony and stuff in different territories, Mid-Atlantic and different places and stuff. And always got along with him. I love Tony dearly. He was from Patrick Henry High School here in Roanoke, and I was from on the other side, from Northside High School. But Tony was a big, huge, believable guy, and I always loved working with him. Very, very easy to work with.
This is a little bit off the wrestling topic, but somebody is asking, what are your thoughts on aliens? They've been in the news a lot lately, and UFOs. You're driving around at night with your truck driving job, so you might, if anyone's going to see something, it might be you. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because I enjoyed the segment you did early in the week on the UFOs, and I seen one in 97, 98 when I was training another driver. We was in South Carolina, and we saw something we couldn't explain and stuff, and it just stopped and above us and as high as a power pole, and just hovered and just sat there, and just all these bright lights, and it just started moving side to side. Then all of a sudden it just took off to the right, and then the way it was a plane, and it definitely wasn't any kind of a hot balloon or anything like that. It was definitely some kind of craft that was not of this world, and long before drones ever came along. So
what year would that have been?
97, 98.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What do you think about the government saying that these type of craft exist now, and they don't really know what they are, but they're going to be investigating it more?
Well, they know. I just think they've ended up with egg on their face and not willing to admit it. But I'm sure they know a lot more than they're telling. But eventually, it's going to come out. It's going to come out.
John says, do you remember the night at the Robert Gertain Arena in Hull, Quebec, when somebody stole your hat?
Yes. Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, because I had to get that replaced. I had to get another one made. So, yep, I sure do.
How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess with the guy that took it back, the people from the ring that took the stuff back, and somebody got their hands on it and snatched it and took off with it. So
You've mentioned a few of the deaths hit you really hard in wrestling. Is there one in particular that hit you the hardest of your friends that have passed on?
oh well, lately Don's been the worst because of how it happened in our relationship. How much we'd work together and stuff. But before that, it was Bruiser Brody. I've never been able to put my arms around what happened to Frank. If the guy was hard to do business with him, why book him? Don't book the guy. Leave him home.
A lot of people say that could have been a conspiracy because the office owed him money because that office was infamous for not paying people, and Frank wasn't the type to put up with that.
Right. But they always talked about that he was hard to do business with, and they couldn't do business with him. Well, why'd you bring him over? Why'd you book him?
Yeah. Did you ever work over there?
Yeah. In '86, Vern Gagne then sent me over there for like a week or so, and I was over there with Frank back then in '86. But after what happened to him, I was in the WWF, and Frank unfortunately was murdered over there. But after that, I vowed I'll never go back. No way.
As far as the WWE lawsuit you were involved with, obviously that had to do with concussions. Do you have concussion issues from all your years in the ring?
I believe I've had some and stuff, but shoot, I hit my head a lot. Playing football and a lot in wrestling. I remember one time with Don in South Carolina, where he slung me in the turnbuckle, and I was sweating so bad, and I hit it, and the angle I hit it at, I slid right over the top and banged my head on top of the post and split my head open, and thank goodness Don realized what was going on and stuff, and took care of me. Man, he took care of me like a baby in that match to make sure I was okay. That's one thing I'll never forget about Don, because I couldn't see. I mean, my heads were split open, and blood was going everywhere. I ended up with 12 stitches and stuff. But I've been hit with chairs and falling out of the ring backwards and hit my head on the concrete floor. So I may not have too many yet, but I have a feeling I'm going to.
You wrestled for Herb Abrams in that infamous UWF promotion. Yes. What were your thoughts on him? Now he's kind of become infamous with that documentary that came out.
Yeah. He was kind of hard to put a finger on, but I always got my money and got taken care of fairly with the plane and the motel and stuff. So I don't have any complaints, but he was definitely very different for sure.
Do you have any stories about Haku, who is known as one of the toughest wrestlers of all time?
Oh yeah. Just Haku's just one of the guy you was going to mess with. I mean, had respect for and stuff, because he was tough in the ring. He was in great shape, and I just wasn't a guy you wanted to mess with. And I believe I remember one time and stuff, he'd gotten in trouble somewhere, and we went to somewhere to Canada or something, and had trouble getting through the up there with the immigration and all that, and they put him on a plane and sent him back because of he'd gotten into trouble knocking out somebody in the bar. They made a mistake in messing with him. I don't know why anybody would want to mess with Haku. I said, goodness gracious, what an idiot, I mean.
Yeah, because he has an aura about him in real life. You could tell that he's not the type of guy that you want to mess with.
No, you lock up with a guy. He's like locking up with concrete, for crying out loud. He's solid muscle.
Pubert wants to know if you ever witnessed any backstage fights.
You know what? I'm going to have to step in right here, Hannibal. You've taken too much time away from Boris and my Independence Day party. We're having a good time here on the Captain's Private
He doesn't care about Independence Day. He's got the Russian flag in the background.
But he's a good old boy, a Little Skins fan at heart. Okay, he's proud to be an American, and we've declared our Independence Day in 1776 from England, and I'm declaring my independence from you now, Hannibal. If the people want to see Boris, they got to come on the Captain's Corner feed on Facebook, 7 p.m. Until then, it's been your pleasure.
I'd like him to bash that flag in your neck.